Today's guest is a business strategist, and she's dedicated to helping entrepreneurs turn clarity into action. With over 12 years of experience partnering with real estate agents and business professionals, she specializes in turning messy ideas into actionable systems. Since we already know the ultimate answer is 42, today we're going to find out from Aimee Skillin what the ultimate question we should be asking in our business is. What's up, everybody? Michael Johnson here with the 42 podcast, where we already know the answer and we're on a quest to find the ultimate question. I'm excited you're here with me today as we explore the ultimate question with another amazing guest, expert, and business owner. Today, we have Aimee Skillin joining us on the show. Let's get her on stage and get started. Aimee, thank you so much for being on the show today and coming to share your earned wisdom and your EEI, your experience, your expertise, your insight. It's such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I feel honored to be on your podcast today.
Well, it's going to be a good time. I'm excited to get to your ultimate question, but we've got a journey to go on. Before we do that, first, we gotta learn a little bit about you. We got to understand this crazy winding road that you went on to get to where you're at today. You have quite an interesting story, and I want to invite you to share how it all began and how you got here.
Thank you. So yeah, I do have kind of a winding story. I grew up in Mexico City, and that was an adventure. It was amazing, and I had some really incredible opportunities while I was there to meet some very big and influential people. And then I moved to the United States because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't know who I wanted to be, where I wanted to go. So thinking, oh, I'll just come to the US for 6 months turned into many more years than that. Many more years than that. But my family followed about a year after I moved here. And my father was a very interesting and eccentric man. He built a library in his home that was dedicated to the study of the Holocaust and the history of the Holocaust, and that began for him because he learned at a young age, but in his teens, that he was Jewish, and then learned that people were actively denying the Holocaust and the tragedies that happened. So he made that a mission to debunk those things. Unfortunately, in the process of all of that, he got very ill, and after about 15 years or so of running the library and creating a very big footprint for himself, he passed away in 2011 without leaving any provisions for the library. And, I think he just thought he was never going to die. I think he thought he was going to live forever. And
Sure.
Why would I make plans for anything else?
Right.
So I took over as the executive director, and I was very blessed that I had some amazing friends and family who were very supportive in that mission and effort. And it took me 3 years, but I was able to find a location for the library, and it is now the anchor to the Jewish history program at CU Boulder.
Wow.
So after that, I was like, now what do I do? But I took what I learned from the library and some of the experiences that I had, and I started working with agents, real estate agents, loan officers, and so forth, teaching them how to use social media in the most responsible way,
Right.
to grow their business.
Right.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun. I met a lot of really great people. I am an entrepreneur at heart. I do love people. And I love that every day was different.
Yeah.
And at the same time, after quite a few years of doing that, I got really burned out. And social media is fun to a point, right?
Right.
And then,
Right.
um, so I thought, all right, it's time to do something a little different. And I accepted a position with Keller Williams as a part of their executive leadership team.
Sure.
So that allowed me to continue to work with agents. It allowed me to kind of put some of the things into practice that I knew and had learned over the years. But more importantly, I think it really taught me a lot about business and a lot about people and a
Right.
lot about personal growth.
Yeah.
So I was at a market center for about 4 years. And about that time, the leadership changed, as all things do, right? Nothing lasts forever. And I felt like it was time to move on to the next thing, except I didn't know what that was yet.
True entrepreneur. It's time to go, but I don't know where I'm headed.
Exactly.
I see.
So I need a road. Okay. And I thought, during the time that I lived in Texas, I worked as a notary informally, and I thought, man, I'm going to try that
Okay.
because that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do that, and now in Colorado, and so I got commissioned with the state of Colorado, and then I just went down the rabbit hole.
Oh no.
What can I do with this?
Right. Right.
And where is this going to lead me? And it's led me to opportunities that I never imagined would exist for me. And at the same time, it opened the door for me to really hone in my experience and what I thought was the magic formula, if you will, of building a business and making it profitable, and giving you the life that you're looking for. So I put together all of those pieces and I thought, I'm going to use this business as my test subject.
Yeah.
This is my own incubator right here, right now.
Right.
And so I did, and it proved to be um, a good move. I took my business. I started it from ground zero, literally. I implemented all of the education and all of the steps that I thought were going to be useful, and I grew it from pretty much zero to six figures in less than 24 months.
Wow. That's great.
Yes. So here I am. I still work as a notary. Um,
Cool.
love my job every day.
Yeah.
Every day is a new adventure, literally. When you
Yeah.
get in the car and drive, you never know where you're going to end up. Um, but more important than that, I really proved that what I thought was going to be the the formula is the formula, and it worked for me. And when I started kind of putting all of these pieces together and deciding that I was going to really use my business as a test subject, um, I had to make some very rough and hard decisions, right? But I also had to um, put my blinders on
Right.
to everything else
Yeah.
and all of the noise, right, that we have all the time
Yeah.
that comes to us from all different directions. And making those commitments to do that and to shut off the noise and ignore it is really what propelled my business forward.
Right. Right.
So here I am.
Here you are. Well, and now you're doing some pretty cool stuff. In addition to your notary
Yeah.
work, you're also helping people with that incredible strategy that you proved to work on your notary business. So tell me more about what you're up to with that right now.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that I learned over the years is it's very easy to tell people what to do.
Sure.
Go network, go make cold calls, go all of the things, right? That somebody's going to tell you that you've got to do to grow your business.
Sure.
The problem here is that we have a disconnect because I can tell you what to do, but if you don't know how to do it, then you
Right.
can't execute.
Right.
So that's really where my focus is. Let's talk about, yes, we need to do these things, but how do we execute these things? How do we execute a networking event and make
Right.
it strategic, purposeful, and we're going to gain something out of it
Right.
or not.
Or not.
And but then we know that that's not the right event for us to be at.
Right. Right.
So it's learning how to discern those things too. I think everybody is guilty of attending a networking event and you meet some cool people and then you start making some friends and you're like, but I want to keep going. But you're not getting any business out of it.
Right.
So
Right.
you have to make those purposeful decisions.
Yeah. Yeah. So now you help people with that,
I do.
and what a cool set of things to be able to move the needle on for people. And you've been doing that for some time now too. And the
Yes.
combination, holy cow, what a cool thing, right? Not only do you get to keep doing what you loved from before, but you also get to work on a whole bunch of unique and different types of businesses to help them execute as well. And I think that how is so mis um, misrepresented, right? A lot of what's out there in the world, and not a lot
Yes.
of hows,
Exactly.
or unless unless the hows are behind some crazy paywall and you don't know what you're getting.
That could be it too. That could be. And I think that there's such a lack of transparency
Yeah,
when we work with people
yeah,
and we want to help them by giving them little bits and pieces and not a bit and a piece that's going to really help them.
right,
Just something that is going to pique the curiosity.
right, right, right.
And that drives me nuts. It really does.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, you and I got along from the get-go because we do like to give away as much as we can in the beginning, and
So true.
give away the farm, and we got
Yes.
along great because of that in the early days. Well, that's exciting. I want to transition a little bit now to what the show is really all about, and that is, since we know the show is 42, that's already the answer. They already know the answer. So,
Yes.
but we gave you some time, as usual, to come up with your ultimate question. And so you've had some time to prepare and think about it. The ultimate question that you believe we should be asking in our business. We want to hear it. What is it? You had some time to think about it, come up with the one question. So, what is it? Share it with us. Okay, let's take a quick break for a message from Business Choreography. If you've ever wondered whether you should run a webinar, workshop, masterclass, a challenge, summit, networking event, or live training, Business Choreography created a free resource to help. It's called the Event Type Field Guide. The guide helps you think through different types of events and start identifying which one might make the most sense for your business, your audience, and your offer. The right event can create trust and qualified conversations. The wrong event can create a lot of unnecessary work. You can get the event free guide at eventchoreo.com/field guide. That's event, choreo.com/field guide. Now, back to the show.
The one question that I think we should all always ask in our business every day, really, is what is the one thing that you can do in your business such that everything else becomes easy or unnecessary?
Okay. Easy or unnecessary?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people in the world that think that it should be hard, right? Like hard is how we learn things. So easy, I happen to agree. Like, shouldn't we make it easy? And oftentimes, how do we make it easy? And that's an interesting perspective. I wonder why you came up with this as your I'm going to stick my flag in the sand and put this as the question. So what was it that kind of led you to this?
So there's a book called The One Thing,
Okay.
and it was written by Jay Papasan and Gary Keller. So obviously it's a Keller Williams book,
Right.
sort of. And that's that's the whole premise that this book is written on, right? What is the one thing that you can do such that everything else becomes easier and necessary? Because there's no reason for things to be hard. We want to make it hard because for some reason we feel like that feeds our ego, right?
Right.
And we can say, I did it and it was hard. But but why?
Right.
Why would you want to do that? Instead, why don't you flip the question or flip the thinking into what can I do every day that makes my business easier and makes my job easier, still brings in the income or more because I have more time to take care of my clients or to be with my family or to whatever it is that motivates you, right?
Yeah.
So if I look at my notary business and I have to answer that question, my one question is I send out a Monday morning email to every one of my clients, and it's just a hi, how are you? I hope everything is well and had a great weekend. This is not a salesy email in any way, shape, or form. But what it accomplishes is it keeps me top of mind. By keeping me top of mind, then when they need a notary who speaks Spanish, for example, because that's my value to a lot of title companies, they're going to think of me first because they just saw my name in their email, whether they opened it or not. It's there.
Right. Right.
That just made my life a lot easier. I
Yeah.
have a really good CRM. It sends out a Monday email. It does 90% of the work for me.
Right.
That just made my life easier.
Right. Yeah.
And it brings in business.
Yeah.
So that's my one thing.
I love it. What do you think is the line between shooting for making it easier and not doing it well enough? Right. I think a lot of people
Hmm.
look at easy, and easy has a connotation of laziness to it. And
I
yet at the
agree.
same time, we don't want that. But at the same time, that is sort of human motivation, right? We all kind of innately have lazy built in. It's part of our DNA. We have to be, we used to, what do they say? We used to have to sleep so that we could conserve enough energy so that we could hunt, and
Yes.
so I think there's a certain element of it that is built into our DNA. But where do you think the line is in our businesses with finding the easy way to do it and finding the best way to do it? And when is hard too hard and it needs to be easier?
There is there is there is hard, okay? Let's be very honest. Building a business is not easy,
Exactly.
okay? Because if it were, everybody would be doing it
Right.
and
Right.
everybody would be um, doing amazingly well. And they're
Sure.
not.
Sure.
They're not. So getting getting that ramp up period, if you will, going, and getting that engine where it is starting to work itself, by itself, and for itself. Those steps are not easy.
Right.
So laying a strong foundation in your business is very important, because otherwise those frameworks that you're putting up are not going to run.
Right.
So we're not talking about our one thing being on day one, because that's not realistic. All right. But once you get a good, strong foundation in your business and you start building those frameworks, those systems, and those models, and you massage them to the point where they are now running by themselves, then all you're doing is feeding the beast,
Right.
right? That becomes your one thing. You have to feed your beast. You have to feed the pipeline, or the pipeline runs dry.
Right.
So finding how to do that, that is how your one thing becomes your one thing. Is it in networking events? Depends on your business, right? It depends
Right.
what you do. If you sell glass, sending me an email every Monday is probably not going to do anything for me. I don't need glass every day.
Right.
But maybe it is meeting with builders. Maybe it is networking with builders. Maybe it is, there's a million things that you can do that will grow your business. The trick is finding the one thing that produces the most out of that time.
Right.
So I'm not saying that this is easy, because it's not. It's
Right.
not.
Right.
But I am saying that if you put enough time and effort and focus into what you're doing, you're going to find that one thing. At least that should be your goal, so that you can start getting rid of other things
Other things. Yeah.
that are not producing and they're not making money. And by the way, if you're doing things that aren't producing and making money, get rid of it.
Right.
You're just spinning your wheels.
Right. Yeah. I love that.
So,
Okay. So we also
yes.
asked you to take some time and contemplate a little bit more of a philosophical question. So we asked you to prepare what you believe is the ultimate question we should be asking in our life. And I'm excited to hear this one. I love getting a little bit more philosophical, because business is important, and
Yeah.
but at the same time, I think how we live our lives and how we grow and adapt really does affect our business in such a powerful way. And so being able to self-reflect and look inside and answer those questions, I think it's super important. So what'd you come up with? What's the ultimate question we should be asking in our life?
This is a question that I came up with years ago, when my dad was very sick. So, why or why not do you think living with regret shapes how you make decisions in the future?
Okay, you got to dig into that, because you got a why or a why not. Why both? Why have both in there?
I believe that I have one life, and if I don't take advantage of it, whatever time it is, I mean, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. I hope not. But if I'm laying in a hospital bed, I'm going to think about why didn't I do certain things that I wanted.
Right.
And I came up with this thought during the time that my dad was very sick, because I knew that inevitably he was going to pass. I just didn't know when, and I didn't want to waste or miss any time.
Right.
And when I look at my life as a whole, I don't like saying I wish I would have, because that to me evokes an emotion that's not comfortable, that I don't like, because it either brings up some sadness or it brings up some anger or some frustration or all of the above, right?
Right.
And so I think that when you let things just pass you by because you don't want to make the effort, or the effort is hard and so you don't want to do it, then I think you have those regrets. Now, if I look at my brother and my dad had kind of a not great relationship ever. Like, they were always kind of at each other's throat, and they never made peace before he died. So I look at my brother now and I see how that regret has impacted how he lives his life now. And I hear him when he talks about it, and he says, I wish I would have. I
Yeah.
don't want to be the I wish I would have person.
Right. Right. So from one perspective, it's, are you living with regrets and how can you not? Right.
Yes,
Like,
sure.
because on one end, I mean, I'd also like to pull up, because you've got both sides of the question there, which is, why do you think living with regrets shapes how you make decisions? Well, without having regrets, a lot of people wouldn't actually make the decisions they're making to take on a cause or take on
Hmm.
a position. And so it's a really interesting question, because on one end, without those regrets, without people having some things that they're like, oh man, I should not have done that. And then they take full blown action into this other direction because they're like, I am not doing that again. So it's like, I get the idea. So that's why I love the question, because on one end, I get the idea of not living with regrets. But on the other end, I totally get that that is fuel for a lot of people. And it's a fuel for a lot of athletes. Like,
Sure.
they missed the touchdown, they missed the basket that would have won the game, and it fuels them because they regret missing that touchdown, or they regret missing that basket, and it fuels them to work harder and to put more time in and to become the best at their craft. And so on one end, I can see the value of that side of the equation, right? Like, people say you shouldn't have regrets, but like, in a way, in a very, and that's why, like I said, I like both sides of the question, because in a way, if you don't have regrets, sometimes people don't then take the fuel and take that energy necessary from that regret to go do the thing that's positive on the other side. So that's kind of interesting perspective, and I do like that you put both sides of it in there.
So I'm going to give you something else to think about, though, because do you have to have regret in order to take on a cause or take on something that is meaningful?
Well, I mean, I guess that's the question, right? We would have to
Yeah,
ask somebody that, started, a nonprofit organization and a cause that they believed in, because they regretted not having that conversation, or because they regretted the other side of it, and they wouldn't have started that without it.
right.
So then you kind of have to go, well, without that regret, would they have done it? Would they have taken the action, or would somebody else had to have stepped up?
Yeah.
So where's the line, right?
But
Like, where's the I don't know. And it's not like we're seeking regret, right? We're not,
no,
but
but regret happens.
right.
I mean, you may not be cognizant in that moment,
Sure.
but then something happens and you're like, "Oh, dang, I should have, or I could have, or I
Right.
would have," right?
Right.
Which, by the way, gets us nowhere. But then it shapes how you make decisions earlier, or excuse me, later in the future, right? And because you missed out on maybe an opportunity or a job, or maybe you missed out on saying goodbye to somebody, or who knows, right? There's a million things that can happen that could cause regret. Um, but most people, I think, who are maybe a little bit more in touch with what's happening in their brain and who they are and all of that would be more apt to make decisions differently
Sure. Sure.
than somebody who likes to live in their own world,
Right. Right.
whatever that looks like.
Gosh, what an interesting question. Guys, as usual, I want you to literally stop and ask yourself these questions. And because it's a video, you can go back and listen again if you forgot. But like actually spend some time. I mean, the reason you come to the show and the reason you come to listen is to really participate in the thought experiment of these questions that maybe you haven't thought to ask before. So I'd love for you to take some time and think about that. And I'd love to hear your comments about it. You know, and you know, maybe your follow-up questions about this and about the questions that Aimee has presented for us today, because there's some really cool conversations I think we can have about it and have from your perspective. But hopefully, if this has got you to think about it in a different way or to ask the question you haven't asked the question before, we want to hear, right, Aimee? Like we want to
Oh,
hear
yeah.
about what you have to say about it. And so, you know, please let us know, write it in the comments and let us know what you're thinking and what these questions brought up for you and you know, what types of answers you've come up with, and we want to hear. So I appreciate that. These are awesome. Thank you so much, Aimee, for bringing these to our attention and bringing it up so we could talk about it and discuss them a little further. You also brought something for our audience, a gift for them, and I'm excited to hear about it and what it is. So can you share with us a little bit about what you brought for everybody today?
Absolutely. So I put a booklet, if you will, together for everybody that goes through each step that I used to build my business
Cool.
and what each piece means, why it's important, and an exercise to go with it.
Cool.
So you can actually try it out yourself.
Uh-huh.
And it goes through the how to do
Right.
this,
Right.
not just the what. So
I love that. I love that. I was going
yeah.
to point that out because that's so you, right? So guys, this is so cool. We're going to put that link to that in the description so you can click on it and you can get to it. And of course, it is Aimee's gift to you. So it's something you can go and do and actually get some hows because you know that's what Aimee believes in. And so you can click on it below in the link and go check it out and get that how in your world. It is so important. Aimee, thank you so much for bringing your EEI with us to the show. And I can't thank you enough for that wisdom. And I'm so grateful that you would come in and give a piece of your world and your story and your life and your wisdom to all of us to participate in and be able to really think and help us on our journey with. So with that, thank you so much for coming. Guys, until next time, don't forget, 42 is the answer. Keep searching for the ultimate question. And remember, don't panic. See you next time. Take care.
Thank you.